Hi, it's Nick from the Run Testers, and this is our review of the Puma Velocity Nitro. The Velocity Nitro is one of Puma's new range of shoes. The company's come back in a big way this year with a full range of shoes ranging from carbon plate super shoes right down to kind of easy day stability shoes, that kind of thing. The Velocity Nitro is designed to be the training partner to the kind of Deviate Nitro and then the Deviate Elite shoes, which both have a carbon plate in them. This doesn't have a carbon plate, but it's a softer, kind of more forgiving shoe for your kind of general training. It's a pretty cheap shoe. It comes in at £99.99 in the UK and $120 in the US. It has a 10mm drop from heel to toe, and it's reasonably lightweight despite the kind of reasonably high stack. It's 276 grams in my UK size 9, which is 9.7 ounces. Upper is the same kind of breathable mesh upper you get on the Deviate Nitro. It's it's nice, comfortable upper. The shoe actually looks very similar to the Deviate Nitro all round, as you can see, but there's quite a bit more cushioning at the back here around the Achilles. Obviously important because when Kieran tested out the Deviate Nitro, he ripped his Achilles to shreds. So haven't had any problems like that with this shoe, we can tell you that now. There's much more cushioning around the collar here. Midsole is Puma's Nitro foam, which is a kind of nitrogen infused EVA foam. This is the second kind of this type of midsole I've tried. After Brooks's DNA Flash in the kind of Hyperion Tempo and Hyperion Elite 2, this is a lot softer than that. But it is the same kind of style of foam. It's really good. Seems really good stuff to me. Like, it makes for a really lightweight foam, but still quite a comfortable cushioned ride. Allows you to put a decent stack on without making the shoe overly heavy. There's also this kind of plastic clip at the back here, and unlike the Deviate Nitro, which does use the Nitro foam, as you can tell by the name, there's also another layer of foam here that's Pro Foam Light, which I think is a bit firmer, probably a bit more durable, adds a bit more stability to the shoe. It's not just all about that squish, especially as there's no carbon plate there to kind of stabilise the nitrogen foam, which is, like I say, a bit softer than the stuff you'll find on Brooks' shoes. The outsole is Puma's Puma Grip outsole, which this is my first experience with, and I've been really impressed by this. There's a lot of rubber here, and the shoe's still quite lightweight. It's gripped fantastically for me in all conditions, at kind of even at fast paces in the rain. Multi-directional traction, all that kind of stuff. I really think this is an impressive outsole that should add a fair bit of life to the shoe. And despite the fact there's quite a lot of rubber here, it doesn't feel like slappy or kind of hard when you're landing. I think it's a fairly soft compound, but like I say, it seems pretty durable. It is, and it grips fantastically well.
So in terms of comfort, this is probably one of the most comfortable shoes I've run in this year. Initially when I took it out of the box, I was a little bit concerned it might be a little bit wide and a little bit long for my feet, but actually, despite it having quite a generous amount of space up front, it actually fit really nicely. The laces kind of lock you in nicely, not too tight, but just I think just about right. This heel collar is something I really noticed when I was out running. It just feels very nice and kind of snug against your heel. So that was definitely a plus point for me.
The fit for me, absolutely true to size. I had no issues with this shoe at all. It felt very comfortable from the first time I wore it. I would say that as a daily trainer, it feels a little bit roomy, not massively, but it does feel like there's a bit more space in there, a bit more wiggle room. But I wouldn't say go up or down a size at all. I think it's spot on in terms of the size.
When it comes to fit, I've gone true to size, and I'd say that was perfectly fine for me in the Velocity Nitro. It runs slightly long. I've got a bit kind of more room at the front than I necessarily need, but I think maybe it's a little bit narrow, so I don't think I'd be comfortable recommending sizing down in it just for that length, unless you have a very narrow foot. So yeah, I went true to size and I was pretty happy with it. I had no problems at all with fit, no rubbing at the back here, and no problems around the toe box at all. So I actually came to the Velocity Nitro not expecting a huge deal. I really wanted to test the Deviate Nitro. My samples got delayed in the kind of big post problems that have happened around Brexit here in the UK. And the shoe looks very similar, so it was a little bit of a reminder of the shoe I didn't have. But yeah, I thought, oh, okay, I'll get around to testing it. Took it out for an hour easy run, and immediately just really liked it, basically. It was a lot softer than I expected. I did think I was getting a kind of a similar ride to what you're getting from Brooks's nitrogen-infused foam, but it's not at all the case. It's much softer, there's a bit of squish. For me, there's not at all too much squish, though. You're sinking a little bit, you're getting a bit of protection, but then the shoe pops up perfectly nicely. So after that kind of hour easy, I did a progression hour, my kind of classic start of the week run, where I start easy, get quicker, kind of 7-minute miling down to 6-minute miling. And the shoe felt amazing for that. Like, I really had no problems with it at any kind of pace there. It was comfortable on the easy bit and responsive enough on the fast bit, to the point that next day I had a really big key marathon session lined up, and I thought I was going to use it because I loved that kind of the first 2 runs in it so much. So I did a 29k run in total, doing 6 sets of 3 kilometers at 3:40 per k pace, just a tiny bit slower than my target marathon pace, you know, a couple of weeks away from that run. And it just breezed through. I have to say, it was like a pretty horrible day. It was windy, it was wet. That pace, you know, is it's not all out pace for me. Like I said, it's slightly slower than my marathon pace, but you know, it's a really long run, good test from the legs. The shoe really protected my legs. I felt I had certainly had enough speed there to bounce through those runs comfortably. Next day, woke up feeling surprisingly fresh. I was just amazed by it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, at this point, I didn't really even know it was under 100 pounds, and I was just like, this is a fantastic shoe. This is one of the, you know, most versatile easy day shoes I've come across. And that impression has remained. Like, I've got over 80k into the shoe now, and I've not had a run I haven't enjoyed in it. It's gripped well, it's really comfortable, there's certainly enough squish there for easy runs, and when I do up the pace in it, I've not had any kind of feel that I wasn't getting enough from the shoe to do that. Like, it's really similar to the Hoka Mach 4 for me, actually, in terms of performance, even if the feel is maybe slightly different. But I don't think there's that many really good versatile shoes out there, and this is probably the most surprising one that I'd include in that category right now. If this was £130, £150, I'd be raving about it, but it's not. It's a lot cheaper, and I've loved every step I've taken in it on the run, doing, you know, a real nice range of runs in it. So yeah, I've had an absolutely fantastic running experience in the Velocity Nitro.
So I've just done my 5th run in the Puma Velocity. I've now clocked up about 35 miles. Most of those have been sort of in 10k stints, and I'm torn with this shoe actually. It feels, when a lot of them have been slow plodding runs, and it's just felt to me quite sloppy. I felt like it's sort of sapping. I don't know whether I'm running bad at the moment, or it's just the cushioning underfoot, or even the sock liner. My foot just feels like it's sinking a little with every step, and it's taking a little bit more out of my legs than I would really like. Having said that, I have just tried to clip up the pace a little bit. I'm not going at my kind of fastest ever. I was sort of doing steady 8.5 to 9 minutes, and then clipped up to kind of 6:30s to 7s. And actually, towards the end there, when I was pushing my upper pace, they sort of felt okay. But I still wouldn't put these as the shoes that I would choose to run fast in. They still feel like they're working a little bit hard. To me, these feel a little bit like a kind of not so good version of the Nike Peg Turbos. The step-in feel is great. They are really comfortable. I've really enjoyed, when you first put them on, they feel super comfortable. The uppers are really nice. I love the way they sort of wrap the foot. I like the amount of room there is in the toe box. I've had no problem with lockdown fit. The padding on the heel and the tongue, specifically the heel, is much better than the Deviates. That's a big difference. No problems. I had problems with those cutting. These are a vast improvement. I wish the others had this heel in them. It would make a big difference to those. And I think these are shoes that I'd sort of quite happily put on just to plod around in, but I don't really see them doing much more for me. They're not a training shoe that I would pick up over and above other shoes. They just don't feel responsive enough to me. There's not enough spring in them to put them up against some of those kind of more kind of super foam cushion shoes that we've seen come along. I think there are better shoes out there than that. And actually then when it comes to kind of recovery miles, they're just okay. I think I actually preferred running in the New Balance 1080 V11s. I think I prefer running in the Nike Infinity Reacts all over. Yeah, I'm just not sure these are a shoe for me. I know that Nick has had a very different experience, and maybe that's just where the foot is striking. I did try striking with my further back on my foot with my heel, and actually with a lot of shoes like this, I find that you get a lot more kind of propulsion and push forward when you strike further back in your foot. But I sort of am a little bit of a mid to forefoot runner, and I just don't feel that these are giving me as much response as I would like. So I think one place where it might be different between me and Nick is that I'm just not running as well as I should be at the moment. I'm a little bit kind of ploddy, a bit slow, I'm a little bit under form, and Nick is moving like a machine. He's fully in training. So maybe these shoes, when you're a little bit fitter, running a little bit better in terms of form, maybe a little bit more on your game, and pushing sort of faster, speedier workouts in these shoes, that you get a lot more than I have been. Maybe I'm just running a bit poorly, and the shoes are for a time when I'm going to be running a bit better. But overall, I haven't really felt that they're a shoe that I would necessarily choose first.
So in terms of running performance, I have done over 50k in these, and that's been a mixture of kind of just going out, pressures off, kind of mileage, some shorter, quicker stuff, an interval session, and a couple of longer runs. And overall, it's just been really positive. I've pretty much enjoyed every run that I've done in this shoe, and I hadn't been able to say that for a shoe for a while, where it just kind of worked in all the sessions that I've kind of used it for. It's kind of slower, kind of easy miles. It just feels nice and light. And when you kind of want to pick that pace up and you want to go a little bit quicker, you have that in this shoe, and it feels really nice to run quick in. I think the midsole, the Nitro Foam midsole, I think works really nicely. I don't think it's too soft. I think it's quite a nice balance, and it's definitely kind of pushing the emphasis on you to get what you want out of this shoe. And I think, as I said, if you want to run quick, you can run nice and quick in this shoe. And then I'll give a shout out to the outsole as well, this rubber outsole, which is great. I think the grip is amazing on this. As you can see from the mud, I have done a little bit of off-road stuff with this, and it held up kind of in those conditions as well. But it was just kind of on the road kind of running. It was great, kind of going around corners. It just held up really nicely. So overall for me, it's been a really positive shoe. I think it holds up against some kind of more expensive shoes that I've run in, and like I said, nice for kind of those slower miles, but also nice to go quick in as well. So all positive from me on the Nitro.
I've done about 40k in the Velocity Nitro so far, and that's pretty much been around 10k distance running. But it has varied between kind of slower runs and picking up the pace a little bit more to see how far it will go. I've pretty much enjoyed every run that I've done in it. I think it's a very versatile shoe. I think it feels really nice whether you're doing a slower run or doing a quicker run, and just ticks a lot of boxes for that sort of daily trainer that you can use for all different types of running. I wouldn't say it's a particularly fast shoe. I don't think it's a shoe particularly well designed for racing. Equally, it's also not a particularly soft shoe either, so it's not really a slow, long run shoe either. It can do both those things to an extent because it's quite versatile, but it's really the sweet spot of the shoe is those kind of daily training miles where you're looking to maybe do a faster run, do a slightly slower run, but you're not quite sure what you plan to do. So if you pick this shoe up and head out of the house, you can do quite a lot with it. You're not stuck to the type of shoe that you're wearing. You can do a tempo run, you can do a long, slow run and take it easy if you want, and it's perfectly fine for both of those. The midsole for me feels quite balanced. It doesn't feel particularly soft, and equally it has a level of responsiveness, but it doesn't feel like a hard shoe. It just kind of sits in that area between the two where it's just a nice level of hard and soft, and it doesn't excel in any way. It doesn't feel bouncy. It doesn't feel like it's massively cushioned, but also it doesn't feel the opposite of that. You're not running along and thinking this shoe's too hard or this shoe's too cushioned. So it's middling in the way that you can use it for lots of different types of runs, and it's a very comfortable midsole. It certainly feels like it's taking the brunt of the impact as you're running in it. One thing that I did think about the shoe, which is probably I'm not overly keen on, it wasn't a major issue, but there's a hell of a lot of rubber on the outside of this shoe, and it grips really well. There's no disputing that. I've ran in the rain in this quite a few times now, and the grip does seem really good. But it just looks like there's just an unnecessary amount of rubber on there. So that's probably going to have an effect on the weight overall of the shoe. So if Puma did want to lower the weight on the shoe a bit, that's one of the ways that they do it.
Okay, so my verdict on the Nitro, I think you can probably imagine from what I've said earlier and in the videos that, you know, it's all kind of real good on this shoe. I think if you're looking for a daily trainer that can kind of accommodate those slower, kind of easier miles, but also if you want to kind of pick up the pace and go a little bit quicker, these are a really good shoe. And, you know, the fact they're £100, or you can actually, I've seen you can kind of pick it up for less, you know, don't let that put you off. I think, you know, this competes well with, you know, other shoes. You know, I think of other shoes that how it kind of fits that profile that I've used, so stuff like the Saucony Ride 13, where I think it's got a little bit more bounce in the cushioning, and it's doing a little bit more work for you. I think with this shoe, it's really about you, and if you want to go quick, you can go quick. It's a comfortable shoe, one that I really enjoyed running in all the kind of different runs that I've done in this. And yeah, on the whole, I think a really strong shoe from Puma, and it's kind of intrigued me to kind of see what their other shoes in their range are made of. So yeah, for me, it's a real positive with the Nitro. Definitely one to look at if your budget's around £100, or even if you're just looking for that shoe that can do a lot of different kind of sessions.
My verdict's a pretty simple one. This is an absolutely fantastic shoe, even before you consider the price. And the fact that it is under £100 makes it clearly the best shoe in that price bracket for me. Other ones I've enjoyed in there, like the Adidas SL20 is a very good value shoe, but it's much firmer, it's much more geared for faster running, short runs. Also heard fantastic things about the Reebok Forever Energy 3, something like that. I haven't managed to test that out yet, but from what I've heard, this is quite similar to that in terms of being quite versatile and comfortable. But yeah, like I say, I think this is a really brilliant shoe. Even if your budget does extend well beyond £100, I'd be considering it closely as kind of a really good workhorse trainer that actually can handle nearly all of your training. Nike Pegasus Turbo style, Hoka Mach 4 style. The Saucony Endorphin Speed is also in the category. It's certainly, speed is still faster than this, but like I say, I've cruised through long sessions in it. If you like marathon training and a lot of your speed work and sessions are actually quite long stints on the road, there's a lot of value in this shoe right here. Like, it really did feel like it was protecting my legs. Could use it for an entire week of training, including fast stuff, recovery stuff, just easy to steady runs, and it just responded really well to all of them for me. And I think it's going to be a durable shoe as well with that Puma grip outsole. Works in all conditions. If you are constantly training in the wet here in the UK, that's another good option. So yeah, can't really fault it, especially at the price. One of my favourite new shoes this year, certainly, and certainly the most surprising, I'd say. I think the Hoka Mach 4 had a lot of hype around it. I was really excited for that, and I really loved using it. This I came to really not knowing much about it, not knowing what to expect, and I've been blown away. Really, really impressed by the Velocity Nitro.
I think Puma has done a great job in pulling together this shoe, because at under £100, you're getting a lot for your money, and there's not that many shoes under £100 that really do tick a lot of boxes. There's some quite good shoes, but I think this really does a great job at just offering a lot of those kind of features that you expect from a more expensive shoe, but for under £100, which is an exceptionally cheap price for a shoe of this quality. And for Puma's return to the world of kind of high-level running, I think this is a brilliant start, and it's excellent value for anyone looking for an all-rounder shoe on a budget. So yeah, good value, good all-rounder, well worth it for under £100. I'm definitely going to add this to my rotation because I've enjoyed running it so far. I'd like to try some longer runs in it, see how they do, but from what I've seen from the shorter 10k runs I've done in it, it feels like a durable and very versatile shoe.
So I think I had a similar experience with the Asics Nova Blast, which I know some people were really loved, and they found them really sort of springy, propulsive and responsive, and were a great shoe. I just couldn't get on with them. I find a similar feeling here where my foot just sinks a little bit too much into the footbed. Then I feel like I'm having to work a little bit harder to get my feet out of there without that kind of response. And maybe that's just the way that my running style is, and the fact that I prefer a bit of a firmer shoe to run in generally anyway. But I'm getting that same sensation here. It just on my slower runs particularly felt like a little bit more hard work than I really wanted it to be. So I don't want to say I don't like them, that's not the case. I actually do quite like them generally as a shoe. I think they're a really sort of pretty solid run, and I think a lot of people will like these shoes. I just haven't found them to be sort of bang on the money for me in any case, and that's just my preference.
That's it, guys. That is our review of the Puma Velocity Nitro. Let us know in the comments what you think. Have you tried out any of Puma's new shoes? What do you think? Are you struggling to get hold of them like we are? Let us know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.